Now at 10 and streaming on crossroadstoday.com, the family of Lisbeth Medina remembers her untimely death 1 year later.
2 women are now facing prostitution charges after a sting operation in Port Lavaca.
And a look at the status of construction of the new Mission Valley Elementary campus and when the doors will be open to students.
We got the cloud cover out there. Now the rain is beginning to develop. I think it'll be a soggy weekend. We'll have all the latest coming up.
And we just got done here with college football, but it's time now for some high school football. We saw Ganado take care of business there last night versus the Marlin Bulldogs, but how would our other teams do tonight? I'll recap those games and a couple more coming up in sports.
You're watching 25 News now at 10. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Shauna Curry.
And I'm Don Brubaker.
2 women are now facing prostitution charges after a sting operation in Port Lavaca. The Calhoun County Sheriff's Office, working with the Crossroads Task Force and Port Lavaca Police Department, targeted a known prostitution ring operating out of Beijing Medicine Healthy Foot Massage. Authorities arrested 53-year-old Sun Xuan and 49-year-old Zhenmei Yang. Both women are being held in the Calhoun County Jail with bond set at $1,000 each. Sheriff BJ Vickery explained that this operation is part of a broader effort to tackle special crimes in Calhoun County and nearby areas.
An Orange Grove woman faces charges in Victoria for human smuggling. Victoria police arrested 32-year-old Elizabeth Espinoza on 4 human smuggling charges from Kinney County. She was in the Victoria County Jail in lieu of $53,100 bond.
A Victoria teen accused of making a terroristic threat will have his first court hearing on Monday. Victoria County Sheriff deputies arrested 17-year-old Brennan Gray on September 12th after he allegedly made a threat of a school shooting and implied he had a weapon in his backpack, which he did not. Gray is charged with making a terroristic threat. Monday's docket hearing will review the status of his case and lay out any further proceedings in the case. The city of Edna and the family of Lisbeth Medina are remembering her life this week, as Thursday was the 1-year anniversary of Lisbeth's murder.
25 News Now reporter Trenton Whiting joins us with the timeline of events surrounding her death.
Thursday, December 5th, marked the 1-year anniversary for the death of 16-year-old Lisbeth Medina. Her accused killer, Rafael Romero, is near the start of his legal proceedings after police say he confessed to the crime.
When it comes to the gravity of what he did, I think the appropriate thing for him would be the death penalty, in my eyes.
Lisbeth was a 16-year-old high school student in Edna, finishing up a fall football semester as an Edna High School cheerleader.
She was not only an angel, she was an angel here on earth, and she's an angel now.
Romero was a 23-year-old, serving probation for a felony burglary charge and staying in Schulenburg with an expired work visa. Lisbeth and her mother Jacqueline lived in an apartment in the small town. On November 13th, that apartment was burglarized, and police say the crime may have been connected to the murder. The police also believe Romero stalked Lisbeth after the burglary. Just a few weeks later, a silver Ford Taurus belonging to Romero drove through the apartment complex on the night of December 4th. The next night, the city of Edna planned to hold their lighted Christmas parade. Lisbeth and the Edna cheerleaders were scheduled to march in the parade, and her mother Jacqueline was excited to see her daughter participate in the yearly tradition. Mental alarm bells went off when Jacqueline did not see her daughter with the rest of the cheer squad.
And I knew right away something was wrong.
Even more questionable was the fact none of her friends or cheer coach had seen her at school that day. Jacqueline sent a text to her daughter, to which Lisbeth did not respond. A group of Lisbeth's friends accompanied Jacqueline to her home, where they called out Lisbeth's name and hoped she was there. Jacqueline found her daughter, dead, strewn out in the back bedroom's bathtub. Her clothes were soaked, and she had visible stab wounds in her upper stomach area. The community held a candlelight vigil in her memory a few nights later, and her family in Nebraska held her funeral on December 12th.
I was shocked, and I grabbed my clothes and everything in less than 5 minutes, and I said, I'm ready. I need to be with my sister now.
But while her family laid her to rest, the police were hoping to make arrests. They used a string of disturbing details to follow the trail. For one, a man later identified as Romero was seen running to a silver Taurus from near the apartment the morning of Lisbeth's murder. The second piece of evidence, an anecdote from a neighbor, claiming they heard 2 loud thuds and water running in the shower. a story that could explain the state in which Lisbeth was found. Finally, authorities say the suspect used Lisbeth's cell phone to respond to a friend that texted her the same night as the vigil. He also responded to Lisbeth's boyfriend at the time in the same manner. Both feared that Romero was targeting them as well. Authorities tracked the phone to Schulenburg, where they found the familiar silver Ford Taurus in front of a mobile home. A Texas Ranger confronted Romero, leading to a confession from the leading suspect. Police arrested Romero and searched his room, finding Lisbeth's wallet and several other personal identifiers. While in custody, Edna PD was awarded an ICE detainer after initially being denied. Now, Romero sits in the Jackson County Jail, waiting for his inevitable court proceedings in lieu of $2 million bond. Those proceedings have seen some delays and surprises. In February of this year, a grand jury indicted him of potential capital murder, believing there was enough evidence to take to court. In March, he did not attend his arraignment trial, shocking and frustrating Jacqueline, who had flown in from her home in Nebraska, where she moved after the horrific event. It was also where the family hosted a protest in Lisbeth's honor, pleading for the alleged killer's punishment.
She was all I had, and I was all she had.
A few days later, the defense filed a motion to have Romero evaluated for insanity by a behavioral health professional. The defense stayed active, claiming that the search of Romero's room, his arrest, and statements were illegally gained. They also claimed that the officer failed to read the Miranda rights warning to Romero before his arrest. These motions have yet to yield fruit, and the trial is still set to begin on its new date, February 10th.
Till the day comes that this monster gets what he deserves, we can start to at least grieve a little bit.
The family has felt support from the Edna community as well as their home in Nebraska. Edna created a scholarship for cheerleaders at the high school and hope Lisbeth's legacy continues on.
That's why we're here, because we are her voice. She's no longer here. We have to be her voice.
Lisbeth's family hopes that day will lead to the justice they've been searching for since her loss.
Once the trial is over, that's just the beginning of our journey, because this will not ever happen to another mother. We will make sure that this doesn't happen again.
Trenton Whiting, KAVU TV, 25 News Now.
Thank you, Trenton. And let's take a first look at your forecast with First Warn Storm Team Chief Meteorologist Mac Pettis. And Mac, it looked like at 5 and 6 you were having so much fun there at the downtown Victoria Christmas tree lighting.
Yes, folks, you are all invited to go downtown to De Leon Plaza. There's a gigantic Christmas tree up there, and I don't know how they do those lights, but it's pretty interesting. We even had snow flurries down there, yeah, for real. Anyway, here we are looking at all the moisture that's piling up on top of us. We're now waiting for this area of low pressure to rise up above us, and that's what's going to begin giving you the rain for the weekend. Looks a little sloppy to me. We'll have more on your forecast coming up in a moment.
Mac, thank you. The outside northbound lane of Lawrence Street will close from Walnut Street through the Mesquite Lane intersection December 9th through the 20th so that CenterPoint Energy can complete gas line repairs. The road is expected to remain open to two-way traffic. The intersections of Lawrence Street with Walnut Street and Mesquite Lane will remain open and accessible. All homes and businesses in the area will remain open and accessible. The Lavaca Navidad River Authority says a temporary road closure on FM 3131 due to construction continues until December 20th. Actually, we've just gotten new information that the cones will be taken away tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. They had been closed there because they were doing some instrumentation installations in the dam's embankment continuing. But once again, the FM 3131 reopened by TxDOT tomorrow morning at 10. Good news for motorists there.
The construction of the new Mission Valley Elementary is on track to open next school year. School officials say the Mission Valley Elementary project is about 80% complete. They plan to hold a ribbon cutting ceremony in May. Then over the summer, the original buildings will be demolished, portable buildings will be removed, and the parking lot and grounds work will wrap up. The new building will open to students at the start of the 2025-2026 school year. The community passed a $25.845 million bond in 2021 to rebuild the historic campus. A highlight, the project is within budget at this time. Well, Port Lavaca is adding a creative twist to Christmas this year with some truly one-of-a-kind nativity scenes crafted from unexpected materials.
Yeah, as 25 News Now weekend anchor Amaya Norman shows us, it's a festive surprise that's sure to spark some holiday cheer.
Yes, we're here at the 5th annual Nativity exhibit in Port Lavaca, and let me tell you that this is not a typical place that you come in and walk around, look at displays. Each display is uniquely made in their own way. Let me show you which one is my favorite. This sculpture is made out of pasta noodles, where they have Joseph, baby Jesus, and Mary. What of such a creativity that they have. Not only do they have that there, they also have things made out of M&Ms, corn husk, and more.
All right, we're having some technical difficulty there, but we're going to go ahead and move to our viewer poll. We want to know which holiday event in the area is your favorite. Cuero's Christmas in the Park, Victoria Holiday Lighted Christmas Parade. I do have to say, earlier at 6, I said I thought it was next week. It's actually tomorrow night.
Yep.
So
Yep.
make sure you're there if you want to catch that. HEB's Feast of Sharing, Port Lavaca's Festival of Lights, or the tree lighting. And Christmas in the Park out in Cuero is definitely taking the lead with over half of our voters voting there. So we appreciate everyone who has voted. And if you have not, all you need to do is go to crossroadstoday.com/vote. And remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today. Hit the like button and click the notification bell. Stay with us. Coming up on 25 News Now at 10, a teacher loses her job after refusing to let her first grade students use the restroom.
Also ahead, President-elect Donald Trump has named tech billionaire Jared Isaacman as his choice to lead NASA, sparking both excitement and concerns.
Here's a look at what you can expect on Community Crossroads. We hear from the City of Victoria, the Homeless Coalition, the Family YMCA, and from our friends at Hospice of South Texas.
The main thing is to make sure that somebody is warm. You know, there may be people that you see, and regardless of whether they're homeless or they're just struggling, if you see somebody that doesn't have gloves, and I mean, it's something easy to just keep in your car and just, you know, I mean, if somebody doesn't need it, they'll tell you no.
A Houston area teacher is no longer employed by the district after being accused of refusing to allow students to use the restroom. Parents of the first grade students are expressing outrage after learning the teacher took away the children's privilege to use the restroom. Parents say several of the students ended up having accidents in class. There was reportedly a teacher's aide in the classroom as well.
My daughter, in an emergency, along with other children, urinated on themselves. They were not given a chance to change clothes, to go clean up, to go do anything. My daughter came home in the same clothes she peed in, completely dry, smelling of urine.
According to Conroe ISD,
the teacher was originally placed on leave while the district investigated the incident. They say now the teacher is no longer employed with Conroe ISD.
Texas House Speaker Dade Phelan ended his bid for a third term. Phelan, a Beaumont Republican, insisted he had enough votes to hold off a challenge from another Republican, David Cook of Mansfield. Phelan dropped out of the race one day before a scheduled meeting where Republicans are set to pick their speaker nominee. Phelan never produced a list of supporters, while Cook gained fresh momentum this week by picking up 2 new backers, bringing him within striking distance of the votes he needed. The Connecticut Appellate Court judge Friday awarded a $965 million verdict against conspiracy theorist Alex Jones. The court determined there's sufficient evidence to support the damages awarded to relatives of the Sandy Hook Elementary School massacre victims and an FBI agent. It is the largest jury verdict in Connecticut history. Jones now owes a total of roughly $1.2 billion. A bid by The Onion to buy Jones's InfoWars is scheduled to return Monday to a Texas courtroom. A Texas man who was the first rioter to go on trial for the January 6, 2021 riot at the U.S. Capitol was resentenced today. Guy Reffitt gets nearly 7 years in prison after he delivered an angry, profane rant to the judge, who agreed to modestly reduce his original sentence. Reffitt benefited from a U.S. Supreme Court ruling that led to the dismissal of his conviction on an obstruction charge. His new sentence is 7 months lower than his original sentence.
President-elect Donald Trump has named tech billionaire Jared Isaacman as his choice to lead NASA, sparking both excitement and concerns. Isaacman, the CEO of Shift4 Payments, is an experienced pilot who has flown to space twice on private missions. He also has close ties to SpaceX CEO Elon Musk, raising questions about potential conflicts of interest as NASA increasingly collaborates with private companies. This nomination marks a shift from NASA's tradition of appointing scientists or public servants as administrators. The announcement comes as NASA prepares for its first manned moon landing in over 5 decades through the Artemis program. The social media platform Blue Sky now has almost 25 million users. The platform's continued post-election growth comes as some people look for alternatives to X. When Elon Musk bought Twitter in 2022 and renamed it to X, other platforms try to attract users looking to leave the site. The desire to leave X seems to have regained steam since Donald Trump's presidential victory and Musk's appointment to a leadership role in his administration. Meanwhile, Blue Sky has enjoyed droves of new signups. It had 24.3 million users as of Thursday. That's roughly 10 million additional users since Election Day.
New CDC data confirms that obesity in the U.S. continues to rise, with over 1 in 3 adults now affected in many states.
ABC's Jacqueline Lee takes a closer look at those numbers and what they mean.
According to the latest CDC statistics, 23 states now have an adult obesity rate above 35%. Before 2013, no state had obesity rates this high. At least 20% of adults now have obesity in every U.S. state. The impact of obesity varies among different populations. Black adults in 38 states and Hispanic adults in 34 states report obesity rates above 35%. White adults had an obesity rate above 35% in 16 states, while Asian adults were not above that threshold in any state. The CDC highlights the need for improved access to healthy food, safe spaces for physical activity, and effective treatment options to help people achieve and maintain a healthy weight. Obesity can lead to serious health problems like heart disease, stroke, and type 2 diabetes. Experts stress that obesity is a complex disease influenced by factors beyond just diet and exercise, such as genes, stress, and access to health care. With this Medical Minute, I'm Jacqueline Lee.
The U.S. government is expanding testing of raw milk to track the spread of H5N1 bird flu in dairy cattle. The USDA will test milk from silos nationwide starting December 16th, with 6 states in the first round. California, Colorado, and Michigan reported infections, while Mississippi, Oregon, and Pennsylvania have not.
Well, good evening, everybody. It's 54 degrees out there right about now. The winds that were rather gusty this morning have settled down. And now we're looking for, rather cold night with the overcast. Our high today was 60 degrees, and that's below our average of 69. Didn't get any rainfall, but that could change tomorrow. looks like I think you're going to have a soggy weekend, and we'll talk more about that after this. Well, good evening, everybody. The weekend is upon us. Will we survive the weekend? Well, it's going to be a little sloppy, and let me tell you what I'm talking about. Now, today, while we did have some breaks in the clouds earlier in the day, it was just for maybe 2 hours. Then the clouds got thicker and thicker, and you can see how we're picking up. Not all of this is actually hitting the ground in our area, but this is the significant moisture that's above us in the cloud deck. The shower activity up here in East Texas looks like that's actually hitting the ground. But this is going to be our future tomorrow, as the cloud deck will stay all over us, and then we're just going to have periods of rain on and off during the weekend. Now, this area of low pressure, remember, low pressure allows the air to rise. So when it moves over our area, it's going to allow that air, which is, you know, cool, but it'll up to the very cold levels. It'll condense out and it'll give us some rain. When that low actually moves around our area, there's a potential of rainfall here in front of it, because it's basically traveling in this fashion, and this would be the right front quadrant of this whole spinning thing. That's why I'm thinking that, you know, it looks a little bit of a washout, but then again, it's the holidays, and it's going to be good to have chocolate and marshmallows and all that stuff. Here's our low temperatures tonight. As you can see, we're looking down to 46 for our area. Tomorrow, we'll only get up to about 58, and I do believe it'll be rather sloppy. Now, how much rain? A quarter to maybe a half an inch, and then on Sunday, another quarter to half an inch. So it's not a deluge, it's not a flood, but it's going to be sloppy, and that's just kind of the way it works out. Here's the forecast, future cast for the rainfall. We go forward into your Saturday, and you can see pretty much all over South Texas. I mean, hill country all the way down. We'll get some sort of activity, probably in the quarter to half an inch range. And then we go into Sunday, and there are going to be some streaks of a little heavier activity moving across the state. So if you happen to be traveling this weekend, it's still going to be sloppy up there and on the cool side for us as well. We, of course, are looking for the cloud deck to not clear until about Sunday night. There you see the clouds. That's Saturday. Then you see Sunday, and there you see how we have a couple of isolated thunder showers that are possible, especially along the immediate coastline where all the humidity is so high. And that's kind of the way it looks for your weekend. We had a lot of sunny weekends before. This is just not going to be one of them. There you see Sunday, finally the whole system begins to move out of the area, and we are, of course, are looking right now. This is the current temperatures around the country. Let's take a look and see who we can see here. Chicago's at 28, St. Louis at 34, 32 in Little Rock, and 48 in Dallas-Fort Worth. And we'll look out on the West Coast. Los Angeles is at 57 degrees. So here's what it looks like for tomorrow in Port Lavaca. There you go, cloudy skies, northeast wind, a little breezy, and cool temperatures, only getting up to about 56. Keep your sweaters handy. Chilly and cloudy in Cuero all day long with that north wind and a high of 56. Now here's where it gets very interesting. I put it as an alert day because driving around is going to be a little on the slick side, so do be cautious. Now as it clears Monday, we're going to warm up for one day. Then this is a big strong cold front. As a matter of fact, Wednesday, Thursday and Friday we may be down into the mid and upper 30s. That's a real cold front coming in. We'll have more, of course, for you early next week. That's your 7-day forecast, reminding everybody we do have a QR code. Love for you to scan that, put Crossroads Today on your phone. Big time football all over South Texas, and Maxwell's got it all for you.
That's right, Mac. After the break, I'm going to highlight their Edna, Tidehaven, and Bay City games here in the Crossroads. Don't go anywhere. All right, Crossroads. So two teams punched their tickets there last night to the state semifinals there in Ganado and Shiner. And tonight, we had three of our teams playing for a chance for the state semifinals. Who would win and who would go home? Let's first start with the Edna Cowboys. Again, they played against the Lano Yellow Jackets there out in San Antonio there in Hero Stadium. And again, Edna started off fast. Chase Schubert, how about this pass to Braylon Harris? Breaks off a tackle here, and look at him go. We've seen this connection all throughout the entire year. Chase Schubert making plays to Braylon Harris, and he's getting to the end zone again. And that would be an early lead there. Edna up 7-0, but Chase Schubert doesn't just use his arm, right? He uses his legs as well. Gets there into the end zone there for the Edna Cowboys. They're now up 14-0, and then Edna, how about another play? Look at this throw, tight spiral in tight coverage. Gets it there for the end zone there, finding Harris again, and Edna would control this game from the jump and win 41-14 over Lano there tonight. And guess what for Edna? Their next opponent will be the Columbus Cardinals. Yes, they won there against Franklin there in that matchup. What a great next state semifinal matchup that's going to be between Edna and Columbus there next week. Now over to 3A there, Division II. How about the Tidehaven Tigers facing the Lexington Eagles? This one went back and forth as Lexington gets on the board early there. Early 7-0 lead, but guess what? Tidehaven made some plays when they needed to. How about Ashton Galvin all the way to the house? And again, Tidehaven would respond 7-7. And then how about the big man? Jason Duran gets through a couple people, says get in the end zone. 14-7, Tidehaven getting back and forth. And then Kale Russell, I just named him as our athlete of the week there yesterday. Well, he showed it on this pass. How about this one going deep? And TJ Galvin getting up 21-7. This game went back and forth. Lexington made a couple plays, but Tidehaven gets the win, 35-21. Their defense made a big interception at the end of the day. They're going to face the Woodville Eagles there in the state semifinal round there next week. And then finally, over to 4A Division I there, the Bay City Blackcats trying to get a big win over Lavernia Bears, who beat the Calhoun Sand Crabs last week. And Lavernia, this team is again a scrappy team to look out for. And guess what? Their running game was huge. Sean Garza gets in the end zone for the Bears. They would get up there 7-3 here in this game. But Bay City, this is a team that's a bend but don't break kind of offense, right? Again, you look at Alex Estrada, nice little pass there to Zylan Williams, gets there to the end zone, and Bay City responds back, getting it to 10-7 here in this game. And then after this, Estrada keeps his own number, gets to the outside. It's 17-14. Looks like Bay City's going to get the win, right? No. At the end of the day here, Livonia would get the win here, 42-24 over Bay City. Unfortunately there for the Black Cats, their season comes to a close. And then quickly here again, how about Ganado? They made it back to the state semifinals there last week. They beat Refugio 14-6. Again, how about this? Couple of good plays here. Again, their defense made a lot of plays in this game here for Ganado. Just a recap here from last night. Bryce Ullman made a couple big tackles. And then also here, the next play we're going to look at here as well. Bryce Ullman did a nice little pass over here to Austin Pena. And he's going to get out there to the outside, make a couple plays, and then get into the end zone. And then as you see the end of score here for Ganado, the final score will turn out to be in this one, 41-14 there for Ganado here. Again, Ganado, I was going to mention who they're going to play. They're going to play the Joaquin Rams. That is official there for Ganado. That is going to be in the next round there next week. And then I wanted to mention there, they got the win there last night. And also last night, we had a chance to talk to Ganado head coach Josh Irvin about his thoughts about game last night and what to expect there for the next round.
I feel good. I mean, anytime you win, I feel great. I'm so happy for the kids. I thought they played pretty well for the most part. There's some things we got to clean up, but we're excited. I think that was a big point in the game, calling the timeout right there before the half. Executing the block pump perfectly, recovering it for a touchdown. But that first half, I mean, we got to do a better job next game. We had 2 fumbles. We had a couple takeaways, though, also. So credit to our defense and credit to their defense for making plays. But we got to clean some stuff up for sure going into next week.
Now, even though Irvin believes his team can improve, they're going to move to the state semifinals there, just like Edna, and again, just like Tidehaven here tonight. Congrats to all of our teams that made it there to the next round. Can't wait to cover them there next week. That's going to do it here for sports. Don and Shauna, back to you.
Thank you, Max. Stay with us. Coming up on 25 News now at 10, we'll take a last look at your weather and find out what the top choice for a budget-friendly first date is. Saturday is National Pearl Harbor Remembrance Day. This year marks 83 years since Japanese forces attacked a U.S. Navy base at Pearl Harbor in Hawaii, launching the United States into World War II. The attack killed more than 2,400 Americans and injured nearly 1,200 others.
All right, any of you men out there who are looking for a budget-friendly place to take a first date, datingnews.com asked the question, where are you most likely to take a first date? Chick-fil-A came out as the winner in that survey. Dairy Queen second. Third place was a tie between Sonic Drive-In and Pizza Hut. And if you think fast food may not fly, 54% of men and 66% of women say they're totally cool with a budget-friendly first date. So grab those nuggets or a Blizzard and let the sparks fly.
Well, I tell you something, those are good places to eat. And if people are trying to get to those places tomorrow in the weather, I guess one question we're asking you, Mac, is when is the rain going to start?
Well, I believe overnight, and it'll be misty and drizzly early in the morning. Your Saturday looks like we're going to have rain on and off all day long. A little cool, a little cloudy, a little chilly, pardon me. And then it gets a little heavier on Sunday morning. By Sunday night, it starts to pull out. Then we get milder weather for Monday, but then the big chill rolls in Tuesday with a strong north wind and temperatures dropping into the 30s.
Mac, thank you. And finally tonight, some of the most popular holiday words have surprising origins. Mistletoe stems from the Old English words mistletoe, which mean dung twig. That's because mistletoe grows from bird droppings. Back to ancient times, people kissed under the mistletoe. It was a symbol of fertility, love, and peace. Eggnog was made the 17th century with rum and raw eggs. It was thought to prevent brain fog. Caroling traces its roots to singing and dancing at pagan celebrations. Christians then started writing their own songs to celebrate Christmas. So the next time you go to a Christmas party, and watch out for that mistletoe.
And the eggnog.
And the eggnog. Yeah, you know, unless you like brain fog.
Unless
I don't
you go
Yeah.
drink eggnog first, then mistletoe? Oh, no.
All right. Well, thanks for staying up late with us tonight.
Please join 25 News Now this weekend at crossroadstoday.com. All the latest